concern of yours that for him to pursue his England career he'd have to switch clubs?
No, I don't see why that should be the case. You know, I've spoken to the English coaches. They were obviously interested to find out about him. And I think from his point of view, you know, he's gone with his heart, so we have to support him, and you can understand that fully. What we have to make sure is that we can support, you know, if he is involved with the English squad, that we can support their commitment requirements, and if we can do that, there's absolutely no reason why Ben should actually go to play in England. You know, I think that he plays against a lot of the teams that they play against in Italy, Ireland, and Scotland and Wales. He knows a lot about the individual players and the styles of play, so he could be quite invaluable to them, and hopefully they can see that. And so when I spoke to the coaches, they were pretty flexible about that.
It's good news.
Yeah, it's good news. We'll see how that pans out, but obviously easier for another year. But Ben still, like everybody, still has to make a decision at the end of that period. I think he's very comfortable here. It's obviously, you know, we've given him the opportunity from nowhere in the first place, so I think he feels a certain amount of loyalty, and probably rightly so. And because of his opportunities here, he's now put himself in the frame for England, so you know, he understands and realises that. So we like to think he'll be a part of our team for years to come.
This weekend is an opportunity for him as well, isn't it? Because obviously playing a big English side, with the English media here, his name's, you know, obviously in the frame as well. It's a big chance for him.
Yeah, it's a big chance for all the players, I think, on show, you know, from both sides, whether they're English or Welsh, and whether Six Nations are on the corner. Certainly these games are viewed as trials by the international coaches and opportunities for all players.
What's Jonathan Davies' situation? I know his contract's at the end of the year. Are you in negotiations with him?
Yes.
Are you hopeful with him? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, all things being equal with John would stay here. And we're in the process of talking to John. I spoke to him again today. He wants to stay here, and we've got to try and ensure we can put a package together, which will allow us to do that.
Difficult is it going to be to put that package together with you know, what's on offer elsewhere?
There's always going to be a tipping point in any of these negotiations, particularly if we're coming up against French clubs. But at the end of the day, you know, there's still a lot of development for John. I think he's in absolutely the right place. He's around a group of players that he's grown up with, really, and he's completely comfortable here. So there's a value to that as well, and he feels he's part of something, you know, that's growing here. So you know, you can't underestimate that. It's not all about money, but there is a tipping point, and he's certainly a priority for us moving forward.
And he's been a good form, Nigel, as well, isn't he? See that man sticking in particular out there. You know, it's a key weapon for him.
Yeah, he's one of the group of very exciting backs, and he enjoys playing alongside him. But we've got some equally exciting players coming behind him now, which we've been able to promote through the ranks over the last season. And we saw that in a performance against the Dragons.
Sean and Martin's looking even from Glasgow. Do you offer him a new deal?
Well, we spoke to Sean, and we looked at negotiations moving forward, but I think ultimately it was about the fact that his brother was going back to Glasgow. He felt this was probably the one move that he had left, and it was always a case of going back home, so it was more the heart and everything else with Sean.
He's been a good servant.
Been fantastic for us, Sean. You know, he came in at a very difficult time, brought a level of maturity and experience that we probably didn't have in the group at that time, and a lot of players have developed around him as a result of that. So, you know, he's been fantastic for us.
You spoke on the weekend, Nigel, that things aren't quite clicking behind this club. Are you not far away, do you think?
You know, it's a difficult one. You know, we've been very hard on ourselves this week, and rightly so. There's a huge amount of frustration within the group right now. We really felt we should have put in a far better performance than we did against Glasgow. Having said that, you know, taking anything away from Glasgow, I thought they did very well, in fairness to them, and they came here and looked to stop us playing, and they did that. So you've got to give them credit for that. But we have to be above that, and we have to raise above that. And it was one of those games where if we have ambitions to be successful ultimately, you know, we have to put sides of that away a lot more comfortably than we did. So there's been a huge amount of frustration, just come off the back of a full-on contact session. the training field right now, which some of the frustrations were got rid of. And it's been a funny week, you know. Ultimately we've had a very good Christmas period in winning the 3 games that we won, but we're still very frustrated with the level of performance. So we'll see if we can turn that around.
In a way, though, this weekend is more about result and performance, isn't it?
I think every week is. You know, I think in the last 2 years we probably played some great rugby and lost games, and we've been a little bit more pragmatic this year. Although I still think there's a lot more in us than we've shown so far, and we've just got to get that balance right, and getting that balance right is a key to it, really. You know, I think from my point of view, I have to emphasise certain things in our game which allows us to play. It's a state of mind. It's how people view things, and it's a mindset. And we've always been very attack orientated. There's been a conscious decision this year around the contact and the defence, and statistically those areas have improved dramatically for us and allowed us to stay in games. But maybe it's taken something away from other elements of our game. So as I say, getting that balance right is key for us, and we're not quite there yet.
How do you expect Northampton to process?
We expect them to come as strong as they can. We expect them to come all guns blazing, really, and have a real crack at us. They've still got an opportunity to qualify for a qualifying place in Europe. And if they get, you know, obviously they'll want revenge on us, and they'll want revenge on Munster, so they've got 2 huge games for them, really.
You seem to nullify their strength, which is the forward domination of it, Franklin's Gardens to an extent, which gave you that platform. Is that the key again?
There has to be a level of parity there, that's for sure. And I think it's going to be a hugely physical game. As I said, we've got a group of players who are smart in, really, from not maybe matching Glasgow physically, dropping off some of the standards that we've set in that on that side of the game. And I'm expecting us to step it up hugely in that area. They'll come down looking to probably dominate us in that area. So I think it'll be a very, very physical encounter, as much as 2 sides known probably for playing a bit of rugby. I think first and foremost it'll be sorted out in the physicality.
Referee this weekend as well, Mr. Rowland. What are your thoughts about that? What kind of reception can you expect here?
He'll have a warm reception here, but I think you know, he's a good referee. He's a top-end referee. I think you can't blame him for refereeing the laws of the game, and that's what he did. So I don't think there's any issues there with it.
Certainly getting a bit of stick from the crowd, though.
Well, don't they always?
Talking about the crowd, what's the latest figure?
I'm not sure, but it's been excellent of late. You know, I think our average crowd this season is just under 9,000, and to get that, we had just under 10,000 for the Glasgow game. I think that's massive. You know, it's absolutely huge, and probably shows.
Funny enough, that kick-off is 6 o'clock as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that kick-off team, people come out whatever time if you're playing well, isn't it?
I'd like to think so. You know, I think it's not only the style of rugby that we're trying to play, because we weren't actually that great on against Glasgow, but we did win the game, and that's important. You know, so people want to come out and watch a side that's winning as much as playing attractive rugby. But I think it's the fact that we're starting to connect within our community. Our supporters appreciate that there's a lot of local boys playing who come through the systems and around throughout West Wales and beyond, really. And I think, you know, people can buy into that and understand it and are supporting that, and that's great for the players.
How confident are you?
I'm confident that we'll turn up this week, which we didn't against Glasgow. I'm confident that we've got the ability to win this game, but I also realise that Northampton have got the ability to win the game as well. So I'm confident in our preparation. So far has gone very well, and I know that we can win tight matches, and we can beat just about any team we come up against. It'll all come down to what happens on the day.
Do you still think you can get through Heineken Cup
Yes,
qualification?
I do. Yes, I do.
You said 19 before, Nigel, was the sort of the magic figure. Do you still believe that?
Well, I think we know better after this weekend,
Yeah.
but you know, still could well qualify on that, and 20 almost certainly. So I think it's still pretty much in our control, although we will rely on a couple of results to go our way as well. But that's all we can do is what we can do. And if we get 2 wins, then we'll have a quarter-final place in Europe somewhere.
You know, you've got 2 second rows been playing well over there. Are they putting their hands up?
Yeah, I think our second rows have gone very well this year. I'm pleased with all of them. Damien has gone very well. He's been injured of late, and both Lou and Dom have stepped up magnificently well. And I think when you look at where Wales are currently with the second rows, not a great place in terms of options. Both boys have got to be in the picture, so a big performance this weekend could make a difference.
How much is that a double-edged sword for yourselves, though? Because obviously, that sort of first period in the season when the World Cup was on, you went down a few weekends.
It is, but you know, but we're here in Wales. People have got to realise that we're not purely performance-based. If you look at the French, you look at the English, where they have less players taken away from them, they have more opportunity to bring foreigners in, whether that be through resources or their own regulations. They are purely performance-based. We are partly development as much as anything else. So if we can supply 10, 12, 13 players to the national cause, we're doing part of our job. And the other thing we have to do then is when we do that is make sure that we bring through the next group of players that can sustain us in those times. And that's what we showed when we went to the Dragons.